Welcome to my new facility here. I was up in my kitchen table. I've actually moved down to, and so I have a little bit of a different work surface that you might see here. Kind of a new thing for me. We'll see how all that works. We're gonna branch off into another interesting sculpture. I've been looking for things to do with items you have around the house. These are things that you'll probably need for this particular assignment. This may be a two-parter. We're going to see how far we get on the first section of this one. But these are things you need. You're probably going to need just a regular piece of paper that we can utilize. Scissors are going to be helpful as well. Some sort of a pencil. I use a mechanical pencil for drawing a lot of things, but for just kind of drawing some of the things we're going to be cutting. You might need tape, maybe not on those. I got an eraser, an X-Acto knife, some sort of a sharp razor blade. Will be helpful as well in this particular assignment. And a marking pen. This is just a fine tip marker. You could use a regular ballpoint pen or something like that as we go along with this particular assignment. The last thing I have, you may see down here, is a piece of cardboard. This cardboard is actually a cutting surface, so if I want to cut into this paper, I can set the paper on it here and do the cutting so I don't mess up my surfaces on the things that I'm going to be doing. So those are some of the things you need. If you need to pause the video this time to go try and find some of that stuff, that's okay. If you want to kind of see through how far we're going and then go back, we'll be okay with that as too. Let me clear off some of these pieces here so you can see what it is we're trying to do. This is what we're going to make. I have this little tri-fold thing here that is kind of cool. It deals a lot with the outside view of things, and so we have this when it's out in its accordion style, you have a three-dimensional quality to it, and as you look through the windows and stuff like that, a lot of times you see other people's buildings and stuff, so we're looking out the window here on that one, but it's also the inside, both an outside and an inside view. And so when it is sitting like this, they have all these different surfaces of these buildings that we're going to be utilizing. So as it sits, some of them may be more like this, and so you're going to have these different views of this particular item here. So step number one is to get this this piece cut out on those, so we have those going. So that's what we're going with that. So here's the step number one. I want you to take just a regular piece of paper that you can utilize, and I want you to fold it into thirds. The nice thing about this is it doesn't have to be exact. I just usually take here and I look at the top up over here and see, is that about halfway? And then I'm going to crease that. And that looks pretty close right there. And so we folded that down. For those of you who have ever tried to stuff an envelope with a full-size piece of paper, this is a similar sort of thing, trying to figure out how to get these to fold. And like I said, it does not have to be exact. So I have a little bit of a gap over here and a little bit of a gap over there. So there's my three folding things. Now I just need to get it so we have the little building outlines on it. And I'm going to use a combination of just a pitched roof and then a non-pitched roof on that one. So on this side number one, I guess I could unfold it here like that if you really want to see it. So on this side, here's the top, and so I'm just going to take and I'm going to draw down like this so I have a little bit of a pitched roof like that. And then over here, I'm going to do the same thing. So there's my pitched roof on that one. I wanted to have a little bit of a chimney on this thing too, and so I'm going to put a little bit of a chimney on there. So step number one that we're working with is we're just trying to get the basic shapes of this thing we're working with. Now, I want it to be staggered. As we looked at our first example here, we have one they kind of recede as they go down in size on that one. So I'm going to start, my next building is going to be down here like this, and this one can be coming across this way. This one was a flat topped building, and so we had a flat top on those. Now you can use a ruler if you want, you can freehand it, it's kind of up to you. on those. And then my other building, my shorter building, I wanted it to have a pitched roof as well. I made it kind of a different angle on this, so we had maybe an odd shaped pitch like that. And then let's put a little bit of a chimney over here as well. Okay. So there's the basic shape of the thing that we're looking for in that. This is where our scissors are going to come in. Then we're just going to cut it out. And we can make all this stuff up here. This is extra. I can just kind of trim those pieces off. Come back over here. All the way over here. So I'm just cutting along my lines that I have. I can get as far as I want. There we go. And let's go. Here's roof number 1. Here comes roof number 2. I found a number of these sorts of ideas where you have this overlapping structures with paper on those. You can make your artwork. You don't have to have wood or metal or something like that. You can make pretty cool sculptures and three-dimensional forms with things like paper. We showed that with our origami projects that we're working on. Okay. God, hands are shaking too much. There we go. Get the scissor going. A little bit there. Cut this one down over here. Pull that out. And we've almost got our outline ready to go. Like that. Okay, this is all scrap. I can throw that away for this particular assignment. Let's get that guy going there. Now I'm just going to come take my eraser here. I didn't need my extra pencil lines on there, so you don't have to. I just want, they were a little distracting on those. And so now I have my basic outline. Other things that I want to have on this thing is I do want to have some windows. I think that that helps create the overall effect that we're looking for on this trifold thing, is having some windows so you can actually see through this area and have that looking and seeing parts of the other facade, the other face of another building as it's coming around. So those are kind of important. We need some windows on there. This is where the cardboard comes in on those. And you can make, it's up to you on how many windows you want. I'd probably have maybe a couple on each surface. This one has 2, this one has 3, this one has 3. For making your windows, just once again, you can freehand this as well, depending on how big you want your windows to be. And I'm just going to cut out some forms. There's one window there. This is going to be kind of your traditional house. Both have those windows about the same height. We have them going like this. And I think what I may do is I may concentrate on just this one little piece right here, and then you'll continue and do this with these other pieces as well. So I'll have my windows drawn on those, and so for cutting those out, I just have my X-Acto knife, and any sharp knife will do, and make sure you have your piece of cardboard underneath, and just pull towards yourself as you do that. It's usually easiest when you're making the cuts to pull towards yourself on this one with the blade, with the tip of the blade in this sort of a fashion. Let me go across here. This is a little more difficult. You don't have as much control on doing that. So I'm going to twist this around like this, and now I'm just going to hold it still and slowly pull towards myself like that. Then we can come here, hopefully be able to lift that off. If you have little stragglers on things that don't go very well. You can use your X-Acto knife to try and trim those up so you don't have broken pieces on those, and you can just remove them with those. And these are straightforward windows without any sections on them, right? Okay, pull that down to here. Pull that over here. And then pull that over to here. Okay. And then carefully remove those pieces so that they don't rip and tear on things you're doing. Now I have a little bit of extra pieces there as well, as far as drawing that I've drawn on there. So I have, this is the one piece that I have finished up, and I'm going to eventually do the rest for this part over here as well. So now I can come back in. I want to add a little extra detail on this one so it doesn't look quite like a ghosted image on those. Let me go ahead and move my cutting board out. So I'm going to put, here's some of the features that I think will look good on this, and you can be a little bit more elaborate or less elaborate depending on what you're feeling like on those, but this would be the minimum I want, is some sort of windowsill, right? If your windows usually have a windowsill underneath, and so if we have that there, it makes it look just slightly more realistic. So you have a windowsill going on there like that. I'm going to make right under the roof line, I'm going to put a line right here, but I want a thickness for the eaves of the, like that, and then likewise like that. So it's starting to get just a little bit of detail on there. Chimneys are usually made out of brick, and so I'm going to facilitate that look, and so I'm going to come with some horizontal lines here. I'm just going to take those across. Like that. Now the top of chimneys usually are bricks that are just the ends put together, and so they just have a little pattern here. For these other parts, this is a real easy pattern you can do with that one. Divide it in half. Then the next level down, divide that part in half. Divide that part in half. And then just repeat that pattern all the way down with your bricks. And this one has a little bit, you see over here. So that's my pretty basic thing. So something I thought was kind of good, I tried to make these look like they're a little bit of an older building or something like that. Maybe this is a stucco building and some of the stuff is peeling off. So let's say that we had some stucco that kind of chipped off the area here, like that. Okay, so that's pulled off. And underneath it you see some brick. So I'm just going to put some horizontal lines through here like this. Okay, and I'm just start randomly over here and put a line in, and then to the side of, as we work our way down, maybe a little bit right there. So this is I wouldn't see this part over here. There might be a little one right there. And then I go straight down here. I'm doing it every other, right? Maybe a little bit of one there. Split that there, and so we have the look of these bricks. So we can go here. And I'm making sure that I line them up with one another here on every other. This one is going every other. Looks like I need to put one down here. Looks like as I come back over here, there's probably a little bit of one maybe right there. And so that makes it look like the surface is kind of broken or something like that. Another thing you could put on here, let's say I saw in one of the examples, where I got this originally from is maybe a downspout from the roof line here, and then maybe cut that over a little bit so that the surface looks like the exterior of a building. And the thing that works kind of well with this is you read this as, hey, I'm looking into the windows as surface of a building, but then we're going to have this side as well that we're looking, and that's going to have the surface of a building on it too. And so I'm going to flip this guy over, and I can do the same design you know, with the chimney's kind of a given on those, right? I can actually see the lines through the paper on this one. It's a little bit of a thinner paper, so I can even line these up in the exact same spot if I really, really wanted to. Okay, and I wanted to have a little bit more of this so we can make it look like this outside surface. Okay, and you notice just with those tiny bits of detail that we add to our building, it starts to make it look kind of cool, kind of finished on that one. Attention to detail is a thing in artwork. And so as we work through this, having little bits of detail is not a bad thing. What do we want to put on here? What do I want to put on here? Maybe we put on, maybe on this one I could put over here, I could put a door. Let's put a door over here. And so I want to have this, so I have this step here. I suppose I could cut out the door and have it propped open. That's a thought. Just had it. And just drawing some surface on the door here. Emphasize those planks. Hopefully my pen doesn't dry out. Okay, so there's our little bit of a door. Alright, so I've completed the drawing on this one, which is not too bad, right? So I got the front side and I got the back side on that one. Now when we fold it, this will just kind of give you an example of what's going to happen with that one. You can kind of see through the windows at the other part of the building, but this one looks fairly good. But then as we walk around it, we find that it's a multi-sided sort of a thing as our other ones. Now as far as my demo goes, I think that's going to be it for the demo purposes of this one, in finishing this one, but I do want you to finish up this one and this side and this side and this side. I think I'm going to make this one worth a few more points as well, just because it might take us a little bit of time to finish our drawing and making it complete. Remember, our goal, once again, is this on this side, this one on this side, and so when it's sitting there unarranged, we have it going like that. So I got a kind of a whole city thing going on here with these little pieces coming together. So that's what I would like you to do. Once you have it, if you can photograph it, you stand it up like this, so that you can kind of see what's going on, and then just photograph it. You can use a couple of different angles if you include, so I can maybe see this side from something like this, you know, maybe this side or something like that. Include a couple of photos so we can have the good perspective on what it is we're trying to find with this thing. And it's designed to sit, you know, something more like this. I'm not looking for it to be really tight like this. It doesn't have to be scrunched all together. It can be, but I would expect there'd be a little bit of room, in a little bit of openness on it. So as you look at it and you can walk it around, you can kind of do this. I just think it's kind of cool and simple in its elegance. Alrighty, that's the plan. Let's have at it. Thanks.